There we go. I appreciate the talk title has slightly changed. It's now David versus Goliath, mainly just to please my mum because she's very Christian and I see it's being recorded, so that's absolutely perfect. Anyway, before we start, a little bit of introduction to me. And makes me feel stupidly old when I say it, but I'm just about to enter my 9th year in SEO. Slightly obsessed with Friends, so there's a lot of Friends gifts in there, I will warn you up front. And maybe it makes me perfect to talk about this subject, but I've never actually worked in a big company. I've always ever worked in small companies, small agencies, and now work at a small SEO tool, so absolutely perfect. So in terms of what I'll go through today, we'll start off with the problem, a couple of solution areas you can look at. Naturally, I work for an SEO testing tool, so I'm going to talk about testing a shitload. So, perfect. And then just some examples as well. But before we start, I appreciate we've all come back from lunch, or maybe a little bit heavy. I've just had some stupidly spicy chicken. That wasn't a good idea. So I've got a little bit of a too long didn't read, and that GIF looks stupidly scary, but we'll go with it anyway. So if you do want to just take a quick exit and have a quick break, you can just buy some backlinks, problem solved. I'll see you at the bar later on. Absolutely perfect. Anyway, let's get on with the problems. So naturally, first off, large company, large teams. I've worked with companies with marketing teams of 300 fucking people. It's not great. Large company, large budget. I actually had a little conversation with Barry Adams earlier, who mentioned that SEMrush's marketing budget is 8 times higher than their R&D budget. So when you're competing with companies like that, it's never good, no, especially not for us as an SEO tool. This signifies me working at a small SEO company, because small companies often only have a team of 1 or maybe 1 or 2, or maybe you work with freelancers or something like that. And there's also a quick thing that we need to mention about search diversity. This is something that SEMrush did. Ironically, I did just mention SEMrush, but they did do some good research here. So 2022, they took all the domains ranking that they could find, and they found that 28% of them were new domains. So if you're starting a brand new project, brand new domain, brand new business, it's going to be incredibly difficult for you to rank straight off the bat, as we all know. So what can we do? There we go. That one's a little bit of a hint. Can start off with social media. 61.67 million social media users in the UK. The moment you head to the US, that number rises massively. I think that represents about 70% of their population, something like that, as of 2022. But the problem with social media is it's quite expensive. As we've seen, Facebook's cost per acquisition has gone up the longer time's gone on, and Elon Musk's got to somehow try and justify paying $44 billion for Twitter or whatever it was. Naturally, it's going to take a lot for you to advertise on there. So I'm sure we've all seen something. Ah, shit. There we go. So this is essentially the Eisenhower matrix. We've all seen something like so: important, not urgent, not urgent. I've kind of just revamped it a little bit for social media, so you can identify cheap, expensive, how much effort do you actually have to put into that social media. So I will just point out, I've not actually done any research into this, so whether TikTok's cheap or low effort, I have no idea. Whether Instagram's expensive, no idea or not. But you're all experts in your own company. You'll know that for your particular niche, whether Facebook's the best one to go for, or Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever. There we go. By the way, I will point out, if any of you know that this reference here, I owe you a beer at the Sky Bar later on. So, okay, so I owe you a beer. Hands up if I owe you a beer. This could go fucking horribly wrong. It's fine. My budget can cover that anyway. So previous to my role at SEO testing, I worked at a small company called Land of Rugs. We're essentially a small e-commerce retailer, sell rugs naturally and other bits of home decor. These are some of the companies we're competing with. And these are their 2022 revenues estimated. So IKEA, 43.5 billion, Wayfair, 12.2 billion, Dunelm, nearly 2 billion. Oh. That's our 2022 revenue, 1.4 million pounds. So naturally, we're not going to have the biggest marketing budget. And I'll give you a hint. The entire Land of Rugs marketing team was me and my apprentice. So that's what we were trying to do. That's who we were trying to compete with. And yeah, there you go. Sounds about right. Just for shits and giggles, I will point out, I put that data into a bar chart, and it came out like this. Can't even see our revenue on there at all. That's just nice and funny to put in there, really, isn't it? So you can start off by finding your competitive advantage. We took a look at what these big companies were doing, and I'm going to use Dunelm as an example. They focus on lots of sales, but they're generally a bit cheaper. Whereas we found our competitive advantage, especially since we've got industry experience, Land of Rugs was founded over a decade ago, that maybe we can go less sales, but focus on those higher value items. So it might be a bit more effort to get those sales in the first place, but when you do, you're making more profit. Again, example, so these are some of Dunelm's best-selling rugs, obviously anywhere from £19.50, £24.50, £48.30. The next slide is going to show 3 of Land of Rugs' top-selling rugs. Yeah, so on the left, that's I think the 7th best-selling rug, that's the 10th, and that's I think the 20th best-selling rug on the website. Naturally, quite high value. And there you go, some groundbreaking information for you. The more niche the keyword, the easier it is to rank. I appreciate I'm telling you all brand new information, obviously, none of you know this. But it's true, right? Rugs, if you search that, I mean, this was a Nottingham-based search, but obviously if you search rugs, IKEA, Wayfair, Next, John Lewis, you make that slightly more niche. For example here, Louis Duporte rugs, and there we are, right at the top. Just as a bit of context as well, the average cost of a Louis Duporte rug is £4,000. So ranking high on that is really fucking valuable for us. And again, big companies doesn't necessarily mean big customer service. I'm sure we've all had that kind of situation. Get told to hold and hold and hold and hold and hold. And then eventually someone puts the fucking phone down on you and makes you feel like a swat. But same thing again, trying to get in touch with someone via email. You might have to use one of those shitty contact forms, which make even AI have a little bit of an aneurysm. I suffer from anxiety. That gives me crippling anxiety. Those things, what do I press? And the data agrees with this, right? So 42% of companies buy from small businesses because of the unique products and services on offer. Obviously, the example back there is Louis Duporte rugs, something very niche, very specialized. 47% of consumers would go out of their way to shop for locally owned brands. I don't know whether any of you have deliberately avoided a Costa or a Starbucks to go to a small independent. I know I definitely do. And 86% of respondents say that they would pay a little more to work with a small business. So naturally, if you can sort of show that you're the experienced ones and you know what the fuck you're talking about, and we've got a guy that's been doing this for 20 years and you should definitely listen to him, then that's the best thing you can possibly do. Here we are. Now we talk about testing. This is the fun part. So when we think about testing, it means we can be, especially as a small company, you can be very agile. This is and I appreciate the graphic design, and this is sensational, by the way. But this is the kind of process that you might go through. If you're a big company, you might have an idea. That idea then has to be sent to your line manager, then it has to be sent to the decision maker, and then maybe a test is run, budget's approved, then you finally get to actually doing the work, and that's approved, and then that's all good. I feel shit about doing something like that. Have you ever been in those situations where you've had an idea and then 6 months later, then it's finally live on site? It's shit. This is an example that you could use for a smaller company. I'll have an idea. We'll immediately run a test because naturally I should know what I'm talking about and the idea is probably going to be kind of right. If the test is successful, budget's approved, we can just get on with the work almost straight away. And particular example at SEO testing, if I was to have an idea tomorrow, we could get it live by Monday, generally. There we go. So just a little example using, obviously, SEO testing as an example. We had a piece of content written by the wonderful Crystal Ortiz, 21 free SEO Chrome extensions that actually work. Published it, kind of stagnant results, 2, 3 clicks a day at max. So we thought, well, we want to kind of push it a bit more. We want to get it doing a bit better in SERPs. What could we do? All right, we'll put a bit of budget behind it. We'll get lovely Tiago to make a YouTube video, and then we'll embed that into the content, because maybe it will help people stay on the site a little bit more. So created the test, and those were the results. So nice increase in clicks per day, especially the impressions went up, mainly because it's being shown in Google and all that kind of things. We're getting those nice little search features that everybody wants. And that's continued on into the future. This is a year's worth of data. So the test was done about here. You can see we've had a nice little growth chart there. Woohoo. I appreciate I might have rushed this. This is the perks of having ADHD, but maybe we've got time for questions at the end or something like that. But yeah, key takeaways: spend time and spend money on social media. I know it's hard if you've got a budget to work to, but you can generally work through, like, for example, if Facebook's good for your business, then just spend a lot of time on Facebook, and you don't need to worry about TikTok. TikTok's for teenagers anyway. Find your competitive advantage, obviously, even if that means making less sales. If you're making more profit, it doesn't matter. And obviously, if you're a small company as well, any increase in profit is going to be a big increase to your company. Focus on proper customer service, because we all fucking hate bad customer service. I know I do. And have a testing strategy as well, because it enables you to move quicker. And then obviously you can keep the data of those tests as well, so you know, like, we can come back in a year and we can say that doing a video and putting it on the blog post had tremendous results for us, so maybe we can do that again. If you want to connect with me, Ryan Jones SEO on Twitter, you can find me on LinkedIn, and if you message me on Twitter or LinkedIn, I can get you an extended free trial to SEO testing. Shameless plug, I know, but I'm going with it. Thank you very much.